Hey Piro, I'm going to jump into you and Kyle, Laura Malation's discussion about metaphysics. Or really, I mean, you're doing metaphysics. All of us are doing metaphysics. We're talking about an abstraction, something we call reality. And, we're each devising various metaphors in an attempt to provide a method that's supposed to allow one um, to the truth, or at least the best we can hope to glimpse of the truth. We're trying to offer metaphysical methods to one another. So metaphysics are alive and well. We can't avoid them. But the kind of metaphysics we're doing are no longer merely about um, ideas with no relation to the concrete world. Um, the metaphysics are about how we interact with the world that we actually exist in. So the basic elements of reality aren't things, but events, occasions, happenings, experiences. That's what reality is made of, if it is made of anything. Um, and so there still are forms, though. There are eternal ideas. Um, and this does require an eternity, a heaven, an infinite realm of potential. And the thing is, though, that's not a place somewhere. It's not a time. Eternity is everywhere, um, or nowhere. I mean, it has nowhere. It has no when, and so we can't conceive of it. We can't think of it, and yet it is the source of thought. It's an inescapable concept. I think you know this notion of eternity. I think we can't exactly experience it in the sense of an experience being like something, a moment that we've captured, because eternity is what allows moments to continue. Every experience, every occasion, every moment, every event continues. It's a part of a process. The process is always unfolding, moving, changing, developing, transforming. Um, you brought up the law of identity, and when we actually empirically test this idea that A equals A, we discover that it never equals A. Everything is never itself. Everything is always changing. Um, if we label something, you know, this pen, this pencil, it's no longer the same pencil that it was 5 seconds ago when I name it again now as this pencil. It's aged. It's been somehow changed, and so A doesn't equal A. But from the beginning, the really important question that needs to be answered, metaphysically speaking, is not whether A equals A. It's what is the meaning of equals. Um, like the question, what is being? What is existence? If you've understood the question, you've already answered it, because is, in between what and being, that is being already. Um, so we're in a position of not knowing what reality is, because we've taken the question um, in the wrong way, I suppose. Um, and so we need to not only rethink but re-feel um, the question of existence. We can no longer separate ourselves as a thinking subject apart from the object and say that the object is real and we are somehow surreal or epiphenomenal. Um, we've got to have a monistic ontology if we're going to be serious about doing philosophy, because if you're not a monist, then there's no way for you to explain how one substance interacts with the other. Um, you can't say how A remains A through time, because time itself is formative. Um, so, I just lost my screen here. There it is. Um, and it's not that we can ever make statements as philosophers or poets or thinkers um, that will remain true forever. So the forms, the eternal ideas, can't be spoken if what we mean by spoken is um, transferred into words, downloaded into um, some proposition or sentence or statement or declaration. Ideas are the source of um, articulable thoughts, spoken thoughts. But the ideas themselves, the forms themselves, remain beyond our ability to grasp. Our concepts, our thoughts about the world, are somehow the result of this transcendent, active force of thinking, of you know something that transcends the world and yet leaves no trace in that world. Um, that's what the meaning of equals is. The meaning of is. There is only one kind of thing. There's only one universe that's happening right now. But in happening now, it happens uh, forever, in every place, at every time. And in a particular place or time appears um, finite, appears multiple, appears diverse, even fractured. For you and I, the universe can appear a multiverse because we all have our own perspectives. And so it's difficult then for us to arrive at a consensual agreement about the nature of reality, which is what metaphysics is striving to do. Um, if it's not an intersubjective exercise, then it's not ever touching truth. Truth has to be shared. Um, and that's a major flaw of traditional metaphysical approaches, is that they become so abstract that they can't be communicated. They become so esoteric that you have to be initiated into that particular metaphysician's way of being in the world before you can understand what the hell they're talking about. Metaphysics need to be more communal, more democratic. They have to affect people's lives. They can't just be words in a book. So, in a way, this oral format of vocally and interacting with one another and doing philosophy is really significant in terms of what metaphysics needs to become, and because speech, unlike writing, is more enlivened and spontaneous, and it is closer to the things themselves as they arise in our experience. When we speak from our experience, um, instead of about it, which is easier to do when we write because we can reflect before we articulate. When we speak, we're more in the moment, and the forms are more able to manifest and be shared between people. The eternal ideas become more like living presences when they're shared immediately through an oral conversation. When it's written, when philosophy becomes an abstract symbolic art